Australian drinking culture. It's a thing of legend. For most of modern history, if you asked any Aussie what's in their hand at a barbie, the answer was almost always beer. Lager was a rite of passage, the glue at every backyard barbecue, the comfort at a cricket match, the finishing touch on a Friday afternoon at your local. If you showed up to the party with anything else, you'd get more than a few raised eyebrows and probably someone ribbing you with a, "You alright there, mate?" Beer was Australia. It didn't matter if you drank it from a stubby, a can, a glass, or even straight from the Esky. There was a beer for every type of Aussie. The working class, the upper crust, footy fanatics, and the occasional wedding guest who wanted to loosen up before a round on the dance floor. Spirits were for later or for fancy occasions. Wine was for dinner with the in-laws. Pre-mixed drinks were thought to be for the kids or for the friend who'd rather have something sweet and easy. But then, something truly unexpected happened. A Canadian whiskey brand of all things came marching in, politely of course, but with a cheeky glint in its eye. Canadian Club didn't try to blend in or sneak around. They rolled out the Over Beer campaign, and suddenly, Australia's great drinking tradition was under siege by a whiskey and dry ginger ale in a can. Not only did this outsider crash the party, it changed the conversation completely, and that's where the story gets good. See, Canadian Club had been knocking around bottle shops in Australia for decades, usually gathering dust behind all the bottles of Bundy and Johnny Walker. It wasn't exactly the life of the party, but as the 2000s ticked on, Australia started to shift in ways you might not notice if you were busy knocking back schooners. People were starting to care about what they put in their bodies, beer guts were out, carbs were the enemy, and a lighter, fresher drink was suddenly looking a lot more appealing. So when Canadian Club's Over Beer campaign hit the airwaves, it was a cultural moment. The campaign didn't attack beer, it just made fun of the idea that beer was the only option. The ads were gold. You had classic Aussie settings, backyards, barbies, lazy summer afternoons, where everyone looked a bit over it, sipping their standard beer until one legend cracked open a Canadian Club and Dry. Suddenly, heads turned, the mood changed, and the party was back on. The point? You don't have to dump beer forever, but it's totally fine to mix it up and just maybe admit you've been getting a bit bored. The genius of the campaign was that it made a new kind of drink cool. Canadian Club became the go-to for anyone who wanted to break the routine without having to make a speech about it. And Aussies didn't need much convincing. The numbers tell the story. Canadian Club's sales went absolutely wild, outpacing beer growth and transforming the pre-mixed drink section from a sideshow into the main event. Before long, you saw Canadian Club and Dry at every barbecue, every festival, every cricket match, and not just in the hands of the try-anything-once crowd. Even the bloke who swore he'd never drink anything out of a can except beer was sneaking sips when he thought nobody was watching. So, what was really going on? Well, a part of it was timing. Australian tastes were already changing. The whole healthier drinking trend was about finding something that didn't leave you feeling like you'd swallowed a bowling ball after a few rounds. Canadian Club and Dry was lighter, less bloating, and actually pretty refreshing, especially on a blazing summer day. And because it was pre-mixed and in a can, it was way more convenient than lugging around bottles, mixers, and a full cocktail kit just to get a decent drink at a park or the beach. There was also something else at play, something a bit deeper. Beer culture in Australia had always been wrapped up in a certain kind of image. Blokes being blokes, classic ads with footy stars, tradies, and the great Australian outdoors. But by the time Canadian Club turned up the volume, people were getting a bit tired of all the real men drink beer carry-on. The Over Beer campaign didn't just welcome everyone, it made it fun to be different. It was about mateship, sharing a laugh, and not taking yourself too seriously. Anyone could grab a Canadian Club and Dry and feel like part of the crew, no matter what was in their glass. And then there's the convenience. Aussies love anything that makes life easier. Whether it's a stubby cooler, a portable barbecue, or an RTD you can just crack open without thinking twice. Canadian Club nailed it with the can. You could take it anywhere. Picnics, road trips, music festivals, or just a quiet one on the porch after work. No mess, no drama, and absolutely no need for glassware, which in itself is a national treasure. Now, while beer is still king at plenty of pubs and always will be for certain crowds, Canadian Club did something even more important. it ended the monopoly. Suddenly, the Esky was a lot more interesting. You'd find beer, sure, but you'd also spot different premixed drinks, seltzers, craft ciders, and a few odd surprises. Choice was no longer weird, it was expected. And that's a huge shift in a country where beer or nothing used to be an unwritten rule. And once the genie was out of the bottle, or the can in this case, there was no putting it back. Every major drinks company started chasing the Canadian club dream. The bottle shop fridge filled up with every flavor imaginable. Jim Beam, Bundaberg, vodka sodas, hard seltzers, the lot. Even beer companies had to innovate, launching lighter options and new styles to compete for attention. The competition got fierce, and Aussie drinkers were the winners. Whether you were a die-hard beer fan or the type who always wanted to try the next big thing, suddenly the humble Esky looked more like a United Nations of drinks. Let's be honest, the Overbeer campaign also made it way more fun to talk about drinks. People started swapping recommendations, comparing cans, and stirring up friendly debates about what really belonged at the party. Overbeer became a running joke, a way to poke fun at old habits and celebrate new ones. Even people who swore they'd never leave their beloved lager behind couldn't help but join the banter. The whole vibe around drinking loosened up. It wasn't about sticking to tradition or following some unwritten rule, it was about enjoying the moment, having a laugh, and keeping things interesting. And through all of this, Canadian clubs stayed at the center of the conversation. They kept their marketing fresh, cheeky, and never took themselves too seriously. The drink itself became a symbol of the new Australian drinking culture, one that's flexible, fun, and always up for something a little different. It's not about which drink is better, it's about having the choice and the freedom to try something new without getting roasted for it. These days, Canadian Club and Dry is joined by an army of newcomers. Hard seltzers, canned cocktails, craft premixes, and every low-alc, low-sugar concoction you can think of. But none of them would be here without that original, bold campaign that asked Aussies to reconsider what belonged in their hand on a hot summer day. The drinking culture is now more colorful, more diverse, and a lot more fun. Now, seeing a CC at a barbie or party isn't surprising at all. It's about as common as someone dodging the salad bowl or burning the snags. Whether you drink, don't drink, or are just there for the yarns, there's something for everyone in the Esky. Maybe you're cracking a beer, pouring sparkling water, reaching for a seltzer, or grabbing a CC. No one bats an eyelid. The old beer or nothing attitude has given way to a drinks lineup as diverse as the guest list, and nobody's left out of the fun. So, cheers to CC for helping open up the options, and cheers to every Aussie who's made the backyard get together a place where you can bring what you actually like, whatever that is. So, if you've enjoyed this look at how Aussie drinking culture keeps evolving, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and drop a comment. Are you Team Beer, a CC and Dry fan, or the designated driver rocking a lemonade? However you celebrate, it's all about good company and good times. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.